Welcome to the Mediabank library search tutorial. Today we will look at how you search and find your assets in the library, create searches and navigate through the search domain of Mediabank. So for this session we assume that you already know the basic functions of your account and that you found your way into the library app. So the first thing we will look at is the free text search, which is in the top left corner of the application. So here you can search for anything in free text. So let's say you're searching for Sochi, you hit enter. You can see that it shows you assets within that search. You can hit the space. You can say, okay, I know it's something with cross, and then you can see the numbers going down here. You can add a space. You can say 15 km and hit enter and add as many keywords or search criteria. And this is a contains kind of way, so it doesn't need to be exact that word, but it needs to be a minimum of 3 letters. So if you want to search for something that matches exactly, you simply need to type, for instance, a quote and then 2006 and then a quote end, and then it gives you all the asset that has exactly 2006 as stored metadata. So for instance here you can see it now finds a lot of stuff from the Torino 2006 Olympics. If you don't know exactly how something was spelled, you could, for instance, so let me just clear the search. You do that by clicking the X. You can see we're now back to 2032 items that's in this account. So if I can't remember how we spell Sochi, but I know it's S-O-C-H, and then I can add a star. Then it will take everything that contains or starts with S-O-C-H and then whatever comes after. So that's like an asterisk. So it finds a lot of files that contains this combination, and you can add a star in front as well and after. So this is what this free text search is about. And if you know that you can also use plus and minus. So if you want to subtract characters or numbers, you can simply say minus and then whatever it is, plus. So yeah, it should work as expected with the free text search for yeah, like in Google. Clear your search, as I said, simply by typing X here. So just to give you another example, I type mountain and I hit enter, and since it was only one asset in this case that had this tag, it's a very powerful, very fast search. So get used to using free text search for your ad hoc needs. So I guess that pretty much sums up the free text search, but that's just a small feature of how much you can actually do with search in Mediabank. So we'll move on to what we call smart search now. So smart search is basically a search where you build up a search based on certain criteria, and once you have saved the search, it shows up in your saved searches section. And this search module in Mediabank is available throughout the different workspaces, so it's the same whether you're in workspace 1, 4, 5, if you have all those workspaces available. So it doesn't move, it stays on the same side. So here are 4 already made searches. So we have assets that are in file status uploading. It means that they are not available to view the video part of it yet, but it still has all the metadata and everything stored on it. So you can see it's like a filter. You just click on it and it automatically gives you all that criteria for that search. And if you want to inspect the criteria for this search, you can simply click this arrow pointing to the right, and it will then expand this whole section, and it'll give you whatever this search that I chose had as a criteria, and you can say match all the following rules. In this case, only one rule. File status is equal to uploading. So this is how you build your search. So let's say that I'm clearing everything now. So I'm back to my whole bucket of files. And then I can start say, okay, I want to find something. Olympic Games is equal to, and then we have stored from the legacy archive all the different Olympic Games. So let's say you want to find something from the Vancouver, the magnifying glass. We're now down to the 500 items there. You can say the Olympic sport is equal to, let's say, alpine skiing. We're down to 65. And so you can, carry on. Olympic discipline is equal to maybe, and you can search in here as well. Let's say that you want to find the downhill. Hit the search. We're now down to 11 files. And you can select different denominators here as well. So it doesn't need to be equal. You can say it is not equal to something. You're after something that is not alpine skiing. Maybe it just contains a value. You're not sure how you're spelling something. Then you can say it contains ski. You'll find, of course, a lot more. Or does not contain something, that a value is defined or not defined. It's before or after. So it depends on what you have selected as your key as well. Because these are the suggested keys. That is a configurable setting. But you can choose whatever metadata key that we have stored in Mediabank as the key, and then you can select your denominator and then your value. And if this is not enough, or let's say that you don't need this key or you don't need this key, you can simply hit the minus button, or you can add as many as these as you like. And one very important thing to bear in mind when you're building your search is that now I'm saying I want to match all of these rules. But let's say that you want a more open search, then you can say I want to match any of them. So it doesn't need to be matching all of the criteria, but you can match one of either Vancouver, Alpine, but let's say I want the source back. So the pre-configured filters are listed on the top, and then all the other keys are listed alphabetically here. So I want to add my source, and I say I want the source to be equal to, for instance, the legacy archive, which is all the big stuff that we have imported previously. And then we can hit search, or we can just now say remove it, because these 11 files are fine. And now I'm naming it, so let's call it Vancouver downhill alpine. So now it's an important concept within saved and smart searches in Mediabank. I can now make this search available just for myself, so I'm making it private. But I can also make it visible for a group of users. So let's say that you're a member of a group that you think this search makes sense to make it available for all of them. Or maybe, if you're an administrator and you're setting up starting points for the whole account, you can make it public. Public in this sense is public to the users that has access to these clips in Mediabank, of course, within this company account. So it's by no means public to the public, but it's public to all the. So you can make it private, you can make it public, and then you simply select the group or groups that you want to make the search available for, or you make it public, meaning everyone that can see these clips. So I will just make this private for now, and once I save it, the saved search occurs in the private section, Vancouver downhill app line. So I'll just edit that. Obviously it's spelled wrong. It's alpine. So I can save that. Another good thing, since I made a mistake here now, maybe you just want to change something slightly so you don't only want the downhill, so I'll remove that and hit search again. I get the 65 items, and I can say it's Vancouver Alpine. It's not only downhill of the Alpine, but all Alpine. And I can say save as. So I can use a existing search and sort of build subversions of that search very quickly using the save as function. So call that Vancouver Alpine and still make it private. So what I just did now is that I had I'm adding all these searches here. So you can see what's public, what's group, what's private. Further, you can notice these little eye icons here. So what they mean is that this is a big piece of information. I mean, it's a huge sidebar here that I can narrow down by simply clicking here. So the eye icon simply means that they are available in this list. So if I now switch these off and I'm logged out and I come in back later, it remembers the state of this. So I can simply go down here and I can start switching searches on and off, the ones that are available for me. So if I hit this button here, you can see the eye with the dash is now just an eye. So I just turned on 2 searches now, and they are immediately available. So once you have a lot of searches, which you probably will, this is where you manage if you want to see them or not. Because maybe you have an administrator that creates a whole lot of searches that he or she thinks is good for your needs, but maybe you're able to make searches that are even better. You can manage that on the user level. So this is just your visible or non-visible shortcuts to those searches. Yeah. So a very important thing about smart searches or saved searches is the fact that they are smart. So let's, for instance, say this file status uploading. So whenever a new asset is on its way into Mediabank, it will appear with this icon that it's on its way, it's uploading, it will soon be ready. So every time there's a new asset that meets this criteria, it will automatically be populated into that search. So every time there is a new Alpine clip from the from the Pyeongchang Olympics, and you have made your Pyeongchang Alpine search, it will auto-populate your search, so you don't have to touch it again. So if you make these searches smart in terms of criteria, it will make your everyday life working with search in Mediabank extremely. You can simply just click these, and navigate through whatever it is that you're. Further, let's go into the advanced mode of the search again, and say that we're after the sport biathlon. And you know that you're after something when a file came in that's either before a date, so you can use our date picker to say that I want biathlon clips before, let's move ahead in time, and let's say you want everything before the start of the Olympics, which is the 8th of February, so you will get all the legacy biathlon. Or maybe it's the other way around, you want everything that is after the 8th of February, you will only get biathlon after that date. But you can even do within. So it's between the 8th of February and the end of the Olympics, which is the 26th. So you will only get assets that's been created during the Olympics and matches a certain sport, game, discipline, whatever you want. It's important to understand the asset created can be before a date, after a date, or within a date. And that date is when it came into Mediabank. It's not the file creation date, but it's when it was ingested into Mediabank. So bear that in. This is when the asset was created. Another thing that is very useful is that, let's say you only want something that is created within the last 24 hours. So you You want the latest, most up-to-date news value stuff that you're working with. But it doesn't need to be hours, it can be days, weeks, months. But that will then auto-rotate that search. Match only these criteria together with the timing criteria. So that's another very useful way of making great searches, especially for the journalists and news guys that needs the most recent up-to-date stuff to push out. But yeah, there are a number of use cases for this, but just know that it's there and it's a very powerful and useful feature within the Smart Search. So moving on, you might find at some point that there are a lot of searches within Mediabank. So once you want to switch searches on and off, you can even search them. So let's say you want the Alpine, you can just start typing here and it'll only show me the ones with Alpine. So it's easier to find and navigate within all the saved searches, or maybe it's just the cross-country stuff that you're after. So immediately while I just start typing here, it automatically filters out everything else. So it's easy for you to switch things on and off, and you can see the switching on and off is instant for me as a user. So I can simply switch that off, and I can also, oh, didn't need this, automatically hide it. And I'm only hiding it, I'm not deleting it. So if you need to delete the search, you can only do that if you are the owner of the search. Then you can hit this delete button. And it'll say, are you really sure? Yes, I am. And you can delete it or not. And hit the X here to clear out. Same as everywhere, if you want to clear your search and start all over again, hit the X button, it clears everything out. So that sort of goes for a lot of you. You will find that a lot of places in Mediabank. One extremely important thing I think I forgot to mention is that this part of the search is related to what we have stored as metadata on the whole clip. So it's not searching within the people who are logging events in Mediabank for a race. That is a separate search function that is in workspace 4 and 5. You have a search event, so here you can search for a skier fell over, a medical incident, atmosphere in the crowd, whatever it is. It's searching here, but what we are searching for in workspace 1, 2, and 3 is what we have stored on the asset itself. So if I move into workspace 3, for instance, in Mediabank, you can see everything here: title, subtitle, game, sport, discipline. All this data is what we are searching in. So just to review everything that we have been through with the simple free text search, the advanced or expanded mode. So let's say that I'm doing a Sochi free text. That kind of gives me not too much, but I'll keep the free text part of it, and I'll add, biathlon, and I'll say, this is my free text Sochi biathlon search. I'll make it private, I'll make it a group wide search, or I'll make it public, and I hit save. Sorry, just need to do that first, and I'll hit save. And that appears here now as a private free text Sochi biathlon, and by default it's switched on. I can switch it off. It's now away from the list. I can turn it on. It's back in the list. I can close my search, and I can start working. So you'll simply be navigating around these searches once you've made a lot of good searches, and you can even navigate. Let's say I'm choosing this search now. So every time that I log in, I want to make this my default search, so that I don't have to choose a filter when I enter my Mediabank account. So you can have it as your starting page, if you like. You can choose one of your searches to be your start page by checking this box as well. There is another manual way of handling assets in Mediabank as well, and that's called projects. So they work very similarly to the searches, except that they're more manual, not as intelligent. So they do not have any criteria to them. So I can say this is my super project for Alpine. I cannot spell Alpine for some reason today. Alpine, I'll make that again private, group, or public. So I'll just make it private for this demonstration. And that's simply a manual folder that is now empty. And you can see it's a slight difference when it's chosen. It doesn't have the magnifying glass here, it has the pencil. So what I can do now is that I can find one of my searches with Alpine, and I can simply lasso around these four, and I can say add projects, and you can either on the fly make a new one, or you can add it to an existing project. So I'll just add that to my, you can now see 4 clips in my project. So a project is, look at it as a regular directory or folder on your hard drive. You can just manually add or remove stuff from a project. So if I want to remove stuff, I can just right click here and I can say remove from project, and now it's gone from my project. And for single assets in the library as well, you can simply right click and say add to project, and you can say which project or make a new one on the fly. So that's project. It's a, it can be a combination of whatever you need it to be, but it's a more manual way, but it's there for you to use if you like it. So yeah, if you have any questions about search, please reach out to us, because I think this concludes what we want to cover for the library and search in Mediabank. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon, the same channel. Thank you.